Welcome to Ethanol Producer Magazine's top headlines from the past week. I'm your host, Jill Nelson. We'd like to thank this week's sponsor, the American Coalition for Ethanol. Founded in 1987, the American Coalition for Ethanol is the grassroots voice of the U.S. ethanol industry, uniting ethanol producers, farmers, agriculture and commodity groups, cellulosic and advanced biofuel companies, rural electric cooperatives, and grassroots individuals in support of their mission to make American ethanol the consumer fuel of choice. You can learn more about ACE at www.ethanol.org. The U.S. EPA has announced plans to hold a public hearing July 31st on its proposed rule to set 2020 renewable volume obligations and the 2021 RVO for biomass-based diesel under the Renewable Fuel Standard. The agency released the rulemaking on July 5th. It proposes to require 20 billion gallons of renewable fuels to be blended with the U.S. fuel supply next year, up from 19.9 billion gallons in 2019. When compared to the 2019 RVOs, the proposal would increase the RVO for cellulosic biofuel by 120 million gallons. Due to the nested nature of the RFS RVOs, the implied RVOs for advanced biofuel and renewable fuel would remain at the 2019 level. The Renewable Fuels Association has announced that 2 new academic studies released in mid-July provide further evidence that grain-based ethanol is significantly reducing greenhouse gas emission and call into question the reliability of recent land use change analysis that are based on flawed satellite imagery-based methodologies. The first new study, conducted by the Laboratory for Applied Spatial Analysis at Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, exposes fundamental flaws in satellite imagery-based research regarding land use change that was quoted in the EPA's second triennial report released in 2018. The second new study, a worldwide meta-analysis funded in part by the Department of Energy and USDA, determined that corn residue retained on fields, which is the common practice, results in the sequestration of approximately 0.41 metric ton of carbon per hectare per year in the soil. This implies not only that the carbon intensity of corn-based ethanol is significantly below current estimates by EPA, the California Air Resources Board, and others, but also that leaving more residue on the field can have a higher carbon benefit than significant removal and conversion of the residue into ethanol. The American Coalition for Ethanol and Iowa Renewable Fuels Association hosted a tour in conjunction with the U.S. Grains Council in Iowa in July to show 9 decision makers from key Mexican retail and supplier groups how ethanol blends have been successfully and profitably incorporated across Iowa. The group toured a farm where corn is grown, an ethanol plant, a fuel terminal, and several retail stations. Read more about this story in our online coverage. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with more of the ethanol industry's top stories.